If you want 2026 to be the best year of your marriage, this episode is not about more communication tips or how to set cute goals together. It's about how you actually build a great marriage intentionally on purpose. I'm Kristen, and this is my husband, Ben. And a decade ago, we started building businesses together, and we almost lost our marriage. Not because we didn't love each other, but because we didn't know how to build it together intentionally. Our marriage is now stronger than it's ever been, and it's not an accident.
That's right.
Today, we are going to be sharing our framework that we have come up with over these years of spending thousands of dollars investing in marriage conferences and mentorship and all the things that we didn't know were required to actually have a happy marriage. It takes work, and that's maybe one of the biggest misconceptions out there is people think you can just drift into a good marriage, or
Mm,
if you hit a bump, you must be growing apart or you don't love each other anymore. And that's not the case. It just takes some intentional behavior and actions and growth intentionally together.
right. So the first thing before we get into this framework
Mhm.
is we have to make sure, and this is from the lens, so you might need to change your lens or maybe clean the one off that you have on right now, but you're on the same team. This will not work if you aren't on the same team. So you're not building separate lives. We're not building all these separate goals from each other, but we're building goals together because we're on the same team. We are married, we're united. So you have to have that framework and that lens that we are on the same team.
Yes.
Because if it's not, then this is all just going to be confusing and you're going to set your goals 2026. You're going to go hard and you're going to leave your partner behind because you're not on the same team.
Yeah. The two became one when you got married. So, yes, you are still individuals, but now you are a married couple moving forward. And there's a plan and a purpose for your life and for your marriage. And you, instead of pointing, I think that's a big pitfall of marriage is to point out all the flaws in the other person.
Mm,
And for some reason, we think we're so great and so
yeah,
perfect, and they're the ones that need to be fixed.
they got the.
And when we realize that actually our weaknesses are our strengths and weaknesses are to fill in each other's gaps. And when
Yeah.
we work together as a team, that's when we as a couple are the strongest that we could ever be. And so looking at that as an opportunity to help each other and serve each other
Hmm.
and maybe for us to individually grow too, that it's not a competition. It's not you holding me back from what I want to do in life,
Right.
but we're a team and we'll actually get further when we work together.
It's
So
like an interesting thought because, and we've talked about this before, and this isn't really like the episode, but I just want to like mention this as we kind of get into this framework.
side journey.
A little side, just a quick side journey
Okay.
is like the day and age that we live in on all these dating apps, and everybody's on these apps. It's how you find anybody anymore. And it's like you're always swiping. I don't know which way to you swipe because I've never been on one of those,
We didn't have to
but
use it.
you like always swipe left or right or whatever the thing is. And it's because of what? Because they don't you're not a perfect match. But just want to give you guys a little pointer. Like you're never gonna find your perfect match because you're two different individuals. And the fact like how boring would that be if you were like the perfect match? Like I mean like the perfect like there's like nothing like you were the same person. Like that's not even a fun way to live life. So often we just like chalk it up to like whether we're just not a good fit or we've drifted apart or all these little weird sayings, but it's just like no, marriage takes work. It takes you intentionally every single year going back to your vision board and like how are we going to accomplish this year together? Because it takes teamwork and it takes you two coming together and realizing that like I have weaknesses, you have weaknesses, I have strengths, and you have strengths, and now let's bring them together so that we can help each other ultimately accomplish all that God has for us in this life.
Very good.
Side journey over.
Very good way to begin the framework. So, okay, the first one is build the vision. The first
Yes.
step of the framework, build the vision. So now that you two have come together to build your marriage, um, if you kind of look at like you obviously, since your childhood, you've had your own picture of what your life is going to be. You each individually have. And maybe you had totally different upbringings, different paths. Maybe one of you went to college, one of you didn't. Maybe you grew up in the country, grew up in the city, whatever different life you had coming into marriage. You are now one,
Mm-hmm.
and now you need to get on the same page about what your vision is for your family. Whether you have kids or not, the two of you are a family.
Right.
And so what are the things that are important to you now? And hopefully some of these conversations you had before you got married.
Hopefully.
If you did premarital counseling or
We
just
didn't.
wise mentors and family, we did not. Hence all the bumps and bruises that we've
Mm,
gotten over the years. But now, and if you're starting fresh right now, start fresh, like maybe this is the first time you've heard anything like this and you guys are really struggling. Then this is a great opportunity to sit down and just have an open conversation about just what are your values? What
mhm.
is your faith really important to you? Do you want to center your life around going to church every Sunday? Do you want to serve in your local church? Do you want to have kids? Is it really important that you have a big family because you came from a big family? Just things like that, like, do you want to be able to travel a lot? Do you want to build your life in a way that you guys have the freedom to up and go and maybe go on cruises or go on vacations and just travel new places? Do you want to, what are some other ones?
Well, first of all, great marriages are going somewhere together.
Yes.
So we're on a path journey together. We're going. So I think because you like so often we see couples and we've walked this out. Is like you like started off like this passionate love romance and it was just like the thought of like it happened so fast and but then like reality sets in, right? And then it's like now like you're doing life with somebody that like, you barely know. And there's a lot of stories like that, like somebody, people's journey of how they got together, because that's how
Yeah.
I mean, we just like we met in a dark, hopeless place, and then we just came through, and just all of a sudden in love, and the next thing you know, we're getting engaged. Next thing you know, we're having a kid. Next thing you know, we're trying to do this life together, and it's like really know anything about each
You
other,
haven't
and
even
like
seen them get mad yet. You don't
yeah,
even know how they
and
react.
then
And
and then the thought too of like there's this a lot of times we bring in the marriage so much baggage that we should have dealt with before we even brought into the marriage. We're having to unpack all that, and if you met so quick and you didn't get time to like know each other and figure some of those things out, it can be a really rough start to just like a journey together in life. Um, so being on the same page, building the vision together. I think oftentimes people don't have aren't on this they don't have a vision period for their life and also a vision together for their life.
yeah,
It's kind of sad. I mean, because it's kind of like what's the point of your existing coexisting together in the same
you're
house?
just roommates.
You're just like you have your job, I have my job,
Yeah.
and then that's it. Or like I have the business, you stay at home, and then this is my world, it's her world. She has her dog, she does her thing, she goes out with her friends, their coffee, and I'm here bringing in the money or however your dynamics are. But it's like having a vision together. It could be like a foreign language to you.
Guess what we have started?
We have started a online community where married couples can come together in one place.
Yes, you will meet people just like you. Have you ever thought to yourself, does anyone else go through this? Or how do those other people on social media look like they never have any problems? Well, guess what? They do. They've just worked through them or
Mhm.
they're not showing them to you.
Mm.
And so we have created a community. We are all going to be real with each other. We're there to help each other. We're there to share stories and encourage each other. We are going to have resources of things that have quite literally changed our marriage,
Right.
the way we view each other, the way we view our marriage. And we're really excited.
Yeah, so many fun things in there. We don't want to reveal all of them to you. Just know it's going to be worth every bit for you and your spouse to join together so that you can be strengthened, you can be encouraged, and ultimately you can walk with purpose together as a couple. Let's get back into this conversation.
Yeah. So, like, if that is you and you guys have never had those conversations before, I mean, step one, after you finish this conversation, ask each other those questions. Talk about what your childhood was like. Talk about maybe the pain of past relationships, or because I think we don't understand how much our decision making and our responses to conflict and all of those things stem from experiences that we had
Yeah,
as a child
it
or,
shapes us.
yeah. And so once you can call those things out, it helps you to understand each other better too. Or how your family was with like finances. And so, if you came from a background of poverty, like you guys had a lot of money struggles, then as you set out to build your life together, it might be really important to you that you keep a certain amount of money in the bank so you feel safe and secure.
Hmm.
Having those conversations with each other is super important. And it can help us to understand why our spouse might get upset when we spend money on something frivolously
Mhm.
because they don't understand that our safety and security is wrapped up in how much money is in the bank account and
Right. No, it's
just all kinds of stuff.
that's such a valid point,
Mm,
and so many fights, so many vicious fights could be not even started if you were to have a simple conversation like that. And because so many, I mean, that's a actually, I mean, just a Rolodex of so many couples that we know, vice versa, of like we grow up poor, not growing up poor anymore. So we're grinding, we're working, and that's like why they turn into like the workaholic, and that we're grinding because this is I'm not repeating history. I'm
yeah.
changing generational curses, and they're like on this mission, but you didn't let your spouse know that. So now they're like they're never home and now they're lonely and all this stuff, but like so can you not have that same vision together. And also like if you let your partner know that about that huge like hurt in your heart in your soul, then they're gonna see it from a different perspective, hopefully. And now they can be on the same they're grinding in this season because we're not out, and then you can be helpful support to their goal and their dream and their ambition,
Yeah.
because it's not like they're not wanting to hang out with you. It's just like, no, like I want to provide for you. That's and then how they're maybe that's their love language at the moment. Like I just need to provide for you, and I want to make sure that like we never lack anything, and which is good. I mean, like,
Right.
so but
Yeah.
like but not talking about it, not communicating about it, it could turn into a bad situation.
Yeah. And a really healthy result from that too could be because then if they start to panic when you went out and bought something without talking to them
Right.
or approving it, and it's like figure out we've had a lot of success with couples like pick that number, that dollar amount that like it's okay that I spend this much money and like I don't have
Mm,
to run it past you first. So it's not that we're asking permission to like go buy something, but at the same time, out of respect for one another, like I can spend, I'm going to go to the grocery store and buy a gallon of milk for tonight, like so it's there for the cereal in the morning or something. I don't need to ask about that. It's like a low enough dollar amount. But if it's like I'm going to go take out a loan for 10 grand, like I'm going to talk to my wife about it first. I'm going to talk to my husband about it
right.
first. And um those kinds of things just out of respect for each other and when you're on the same page. There's so much more freedom then that comes within the marriage
Hmm.
when you're on the same page about that. Or
Especially if one's a spender, one's a saver.
yeah. Or if you guys are trying to get out of debt, like being on the same page, that's a big vision thing. Like,
Yeah.
I want to be debt free. That's really important to me. So then that shapes the choices that we make and the things that we do.
And then like when say for because it's obviously we're moving into 26, right? So we just had Christmas. If like, well, we don't really need things for Christmas this year because we're saving, maybe we're paying off debt. Like if that's more important to you than not buying Christmas presents that year for each other is not a
Yeah.
big deal because now that money is going towards something for our future.
Or let's just do homemade things
Right.
or
So
whatever, an
whatever it is, however
activity.
you chop it up, but
Yeah. And then also another one, because we didn't come into marriage thinking about this, but we now homeschool our kids. And so I didn't think that was important to me when we met. So
right.
obviously that was never a conversation we had. But now since that's come up since we've had kids, it's like we figure out if that's what's going to be happening. If that's an important thing right now, then
Mhm.
we're building our life in a way that that's our shared vision. We're equally raising these kids
Right.
with a home
So,
education.
I mean, that was a great point. You just
Yes.
basically said that your vision changed.
Yes.
So
It
your
can
vision can
change.
change,
Yes.
especially as you get older, your kids get older, things in different seasons happen, and maybe you became debt free. It's just amazing. Maybe you got to that pinnacle point of where you felt safety net of 100 grand in your emergency fund, whatever it is. Like you
Yeah.
finally came to this point, and now what? Okay, so we need to continue our vision. We need to continue changing. We're growing.
And reassess
We can
something.
reassess. So like every year, this is a really great thing to kind of just go over the core values of your family, the core things. Are we moving in that direction still? Did we accomplish it? Because that's a huge thing to celebrate. First of
Mhm.
all, if you had a really big vision of being debt free, buying another home, buying your first home, paying off student debt, whatever it is, building up savings accounts for your kids,
Yeah.
college funds, and you hit a certain number. And then
Yeah.
now it's like, okay, well, we don't want to just like keep living in the past. Like, let's keep moving forward, vision
Mhm.
together. So that, and that's how we're not going to get complacent with each other either. We're going to continue this mission and this life together.
Which is a great segue
Thank you.
into our next point, which is understand the season. Great couples understand the season that you are in and that your spouse is in.
Yes.
And even using that, like homeschool as an example, is like for us, we're in our 6th year of homeschool.
Crazy.
So we have a 3rd grader and a 7th grader, which grades are weird when you're homeschooled, but that's around where they're at. And I'm not necessarily, I mean, even since we started this, it's like I'm not committing to the whole thing yet. I don't really, we're taking it 1 year at a time. But for right now, you understand that I'm in a homeschool season. And so you know what to ask of me, what not to ask of me. You know what my priorities are in the day. So even as we're in business
And even
together,
when I'm on a 10 on a day,
he's on a 10 and he's like, let's go do this. And I'm like, okay, but it's school. Because I've had to set boundaries around our school because
yeah.
it's great that it can be flexible, but sometimes you're too flexible. And then what did they even learn this week? And so what does that look like for your family? Do you have newborns? Are you in like baby making season when mom is very physically needed at home with the babies raising them? Well, that's going to affect your dynamic together. And so kind of the same way that your expectations of your wife should change because of the season that she's in, especially
Mm,
if she's nursing, especially if she doesn't have family support or you guys don't have any help around the house with that. And maybe you have more than one kid,
yeah.
like that's a in the trenches season for a mom.
I think in those seasons, like one thing that I didn't do well and then had learned afterwards was like if you're a young family and you got kids, like for the husband's role, speak to the guys really quick. But like it's a good time. This is a good moment to like check in to see like how your spouse is doing when they have the young ones
Yeah.
because we don't understand because what we might see like potentially the house is getting a little bit more messier and we left for work and we came back and she's still wearing her same pajamas, didn't even take a shower yet, but we
But
don't,
she's desperate for the
but
shower.
she's desperate for
She
the
wants it
but
too.
like it's like at that point it's like so you have this inner thoughts with yourself because obviously I hope to God that you don't actually say that to your wife, but maybe you do, but hopefully you don't. But you
Yeah.
in your internal like, oh man, what the heck, but understanding that what she's doing and like the hormonal changes and just like she's like trying like for us, I remember when we first had our first one, it was like we're just trying to keep this thing alive, like
Yeah. You have no idea
not
what you're
thing, but our
doing.
daughter. I don't want to say
This precious
this little
child.
precious baby. Like we're
Yes.
trying to keep this alive. We don't know what we're doing.
The
Um,
pressure, the comparison to other
right.
moms that you might know.
And sometimes
Um,
like some of you guys have help, some of you don't have help from family, and some just be on your own. So I think for a husband, it's a really good response is to be checking in continually in that season, just like seeing how they're doing, your wife is doing
yeah.
in that season of like nursing, and now we're going into the twos and diaper changes, and now they're walking, and
And
there's
maybe
like
here's
different
another
season,
kid
and
now.
that now we're pregnant again. So
And I feel guilty because now I'm not talking to the other
right.
one as much. And yeah. And I think so much of that too, like, I don't know, this is my personal thing, but I wonder how many women, if we were honest, were the same that I don't remember dreaming about being a mom as a kid. And so like that motherly instinct that everyone says you'd have, and because our first one was unplanned,
Right.
and all of that in it is just like I was extremely overwhelmed. And so some of those things that people are like, you'll just know how to do it. Motherly instinct, it's like, no, I mean, I was like terrified in the beginning. So, and then back to the comparison and all those things. So
Hmm.
there's so much that a new mom is
I
working
think
through mentally.
culturally and like demographically, where because obviously we're in the Northwest, so maybe a family down in Georgia, little southern roots, like a little bit different, like right when you're raised, but like in the Northwest, people are different, raised differently,
Hmm.
Just like demographically too, could be, or culturally wise too, could be a
Yeah.
completely different thing. So like, and then you guys coming together from different culture, different like cultures or demographic areas too, could be like, well, no, you should be cleaning and cooking and raising the kids while I'm this, and then you're like, wait, no, but you need to be helping me, and say, no, I need to be, because it's like how you were, how what you were seeing modeled for you. Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
How
What
you,
was modeled for you
what
from
was
your
modeled
family?
for you? Yeah, for your
Yeah.
family. So
Yeah.
just understanding, obviously, with like there's so many more in different seasons than just the kid one, but like we do know so many um,
It's a big one.
young families, and obviously people are always having.
Well, and because it kind of naturally coincides a lot with the timing of you maybe starting a business or grinding it out in business.
Yeah.
So that hustle season for business sometimes overlaps with the new mom, new
Mm,
babies at home, raising small children season. And so that can be a huge pain point in a marriage is because we both have so many demands on us individually and we just kind of get into like autopilot and I'm just going to take care of my thing and you take care of your thing and there isn't really much overlap as far as serving one another, helping each other out, having grace for each other, even as
hmm.
you're talking about, like having grace for yourself in a season.
Yeah.
We can just put a lot of pressure on each other and look at what we need from the other person that they're not giving us. And it all comes down to understanding the season that you're in and
Yeah.
how can I help you in this season. And that just takes a conversation. It just takes opening up and saying, and here's like a tip. If you guys aren't watching this together, you can be the first one because it's like ask them, hey, what's a way that I can better serve you in this season? Instead of coming to them with all your needs,
Mm,
be the one to say, hey, how can I help you? And then that will likely open up and how can I help you?
hopefully.
Hopefully we get to that place, but it's like, just remember because you're a team,
Yeah.
these are our kids. They're not just my kids because I'm the mom and they need me in a different way. And it's not just your business. This is our livelihood.
Hmm.
So we're both very much involved in each of these
Yeah.
things and we're a team. So supporting each other in the season.
Yeah. And hopefully, as you guys journey together in life, you would know in different seasons, like they're responding weird, or they're being distant, or they're just really seem down. Like that's a good indicator to like check in
Yeah.
to see, because like, and then think about like, take a step back and look into like, well, what's happened this year? Did we lose a loved one? Did like one of our family members die, a close, mom or dad or grandma, grandpa, or somebody, move away, or, and that, because everybody like processes things differently. And then in different seasons too, like we process things differently, where we might think we're good and then something happens and then like it all kind of like triggers and now we're, kind of an emotional wreck.
Yeah.
But
And depending on what field of work you're in and the economy and politics and there's just so many different things, so many different factors that can affect you throughout the year. So always checking in.
yeah, so and then having and in different seasons, like we like understanding in different seasons, then the capacity for each of us is different. And so in some seasons, like in the beginning, if you're, younger kids, like your capacity to help me with the business was like very small. Like maybe you could do some design stuff on the computer, but while you're in between like the kids. But now your capacity, obviously, we're filming a podcast and doing all
I
this
had
marriage
time
stuff,
today.
like because now you have time to do things. So like now life looks different than it did 10 years ago. But if I would have known 10 years ago what I know now, how much more successful would we have been as a couple together
Yeah.
in the beginning? Because, I know how to check in. You just had a kid and like, because obviously naturally we're selfish people. Like this, like our naturally we're selfish, right? Like look at your kid when they're two. Like what are they doing? Well, they're taking stuff and that's not theirs and
Mine,
mine,
mine.
and we have to train them to be generous. They don't just like come out of the womb like being generous and like wanting to like, give themselves to everybody. Like they have to be trained that. Like, so naturally we can go to that state of being selfish if we let ourselves to. So it takes intentionality to understand the season and to be checking in continually with our spouse.
The next one is invest early. So great marriages know that they need to be investing in their marriage all year long, not just waiting for crisis.
That's right. Gonna get me fired up on this
This
one.
is a big one because it's almost like people forget they're married until
Mm,
there's a problem.
sheesh.
And then it's like, oh, now that she's nagging me, this is on my radar, or now that he's, whatever. It's like,
Yeah.
why do we wait until crisis to
Mhm.
care? And why do we wait until crisis, I guess, to try to break or fix it
Mhm.
and make it all new again, when it's like we could have just done little tweaks along the way and kept it
Yes.
strong rather than waiting for it to fall apart.
I'm
Go do your
gonna.
thing.
She already knew. I said
He's
it
just
once.
waiting.
I said it again. I'm gonna say it right now again. We invest, especially now in 2026, like we can invest into so many things. Like on just the click of the phone, like there's so many things that you can invest into now. They made it so easy. Like all these like investing in stocks and crypto and now your health, you can track it like on your phone and what you're eating and all these your progress and all this stuff. And what do you do when you dive in? You watch YouTube videos, you listen to podcasts, you're following different people that are the leader in this industry. You're everything that you're quoting that person. You're dialed in. You're checking your. If you invest into a stock, you expect it to like do good, right? I mean, you're checking it. You're seeing how the
Daily.
economy is doing. Oh man, how is that going to affect my stock? You're checking. You're like so paranoid. You're checking your macros. You, um, maybe you got your I've seen couples do this, like they get their house like all like remodeled and done. And like, well, what are you doing? Like now you're pressure. What? How often can we pressure wash this? And like, we want to maintain it. We want it to look good. Why? Because you spent the money and you invested into your you know your home renovation. So now you're really dialed in. You want to make sure it's going to last for years because it was expensive
And because you care about it.
because you care. But how often do we see couples
He might get up
that
out of his chair right now.
don't make me run around this little
Don't, you'll
studio?
mess up all the stuff.
If how often though do we see couples that they put all the effort, they put all of that pursuing of this spout or pre-spout to get them to say yes. We do everything. We drive hours, we send flowers, we rewrite love songs, we get their favorite gift, we go, we shop and we just for the perfect thing. We all these things in the beginning to get them to say yes. And they finally say yes. We have this amazing wedding and we do all this honeymoon. And then what happens? Well, then the pursuit of that investment stops. We never check in. So often we see couples that have never even checked in years. Building the vision together, that's not even like a thing on the radar. Well, why is that? You put all of that work, all of that initial investment, all of that energy into some to get her to say yes, and then you never check in again. What investment in this world, if you did that, would actually benefit you? You would actually see it grow? Because if you did it to stocks, you never checked on it. Well, that probably might have went to zero when you should have moved that money out. Same with crypto. Same with your lawn. If you laid all that fresh sod down, but never watered it, you never checked for weeds, you never like checked to make sure it actually like grabbed roots, then what's going to happen? Well, all that money you just spent on that sod now is dead grass. So you have to rip out again and start over. It's the same thing when it comes to our marriage. If we never check in, how do you expect it to actually be a thriving, healthy marriage? Okay. Done.
Okay, first of all, I'm probably gonna have to adjust the volume on some of this in some post here, some editing.
Gracious.
But you know what? Actually, I just got like a visual of that when you said it, because I've obviously heard you say this before because you're very passionate about it. But that lawn, it's like, when you go out and you be walking by and you notice that little like brown spot.
Yeah.
If you look at it, there's a little brown spot.
Yeah.
And then you might look again and there's another. And like for us, maybe this is because we live along, like a lot of people walk dogs along our side. So that's where the brown spots are. It's where the dogs like to visit.
Right.
But even picturing just like a big, vast open lawn,
Mhm.
if you maybe exit the house a different way, or you're used to just the autopilot walking by and never checking in, then it's not until the whole thing's brown that you're like, wait, what?
Mhm.
And so that moment of destruction, like it's
Yeah.
almost like unsavable
Yeah.
at that point, which it's not unsavable.
That's when you're calling all the
But
guys to come and try to fix it.
yeah. And that's when you notice, and that's when it's expensive to fix, because it's like you have to rebuild from the bottom now.
Right.
Whereas when it was just one little brown patch, like
Ooh,
how easy
she
is
did
it
it.
to fix that?
Right.
You know what I mean? That's like a really powerful image.
Yeah.
Because how often do we do that in our marriage? We get on autopilot in our routine, and I got the kids and you got the work and we'll meet up at this place and then you
Mm.
go do that and I'll pay this bill and you go to the grocery store and we have our roles, but we're not connecting romantically. We're not connecting on a personal level.
Yeah.
And then we're not checking in and we don't know that, wait, they're resenting me for something that happened 8 months ago.
Mhm.
And they still replay that in their mind because we haven't talked about it.
Right.
Or or they lost a loved one last year and I thought for sure they moved on by now, but there's this grief that's been lingering.
Mm.
Or she's dealing with postpartum depression and I thought it was just because the baby cries a lot,
Right.
and because I didn't check in.
Right.
And how many conversations are being avoided or
Oof.
neglected because we're so concerned with just doing our own thing and
Yes.
the things that affect us. And we say this from a place of conviction and passion because we lived it.
Yeah.
Because this
That's why
was
I'm all
us.
fired up.
This was us.
Yeah.
And this was a light bulb at
Yeah.
the very
The
first.
greatest unlock.
Yeah.
And like still, I mean, well, that was like how many years ago was that?
It was
A long,
almost, yeah.
yeah,
Like
like
a
8 years, something like that.
Yeah.
10. Like that was the greatest unlock to hear somebody say that. And I'm
Mhm.
like, it's just like to that, just like opened my eyes to like all this stuff. Like,
Because at the time we were in a rock bottom place.
yeah.
We were about to be done. And there was some little inner tiny little fire, little flame that was like, if there's a chance, we're going to go try and
Mm-hmm.
save this. And we didn't even have the money at the time, but we got grandparents to watch the kids. We flew to Texas because that was the closest one we could find, but we went to a marriage conference and we were both in a desperate place and our hearts were open just enough to think maybe there's hope. Maybe God could do something about this. Maybe this can be fixed.
Mm.
And we went to it was just a day and a half conference
Yeah.
and we spent thousands of dollars to go and went into debt for this trip and all of that. But I just remember sitting, our backs were against the wall. That's how far
It's
away
like
we were
way in
from the
back,
stage.
back.
We were like the last people basically to
To
get into this
register,
event.
yeah.
And I just remember our lives were radically changed. And I left with a totally different vision of you
Mm-hmm.
and vision of myself, my own role and how we got to where we were. And so this piece of it was the investment was because we didn't know any of these things
Right.
back then. And so it took us becoming that gross grass. It's not even grass anymore. It's like weeds and sticks,
Yeah,
you
it's
know?
just all
Like that was
nasty.
our marriage and
Yeah.
that's what it took. But we went with open hearts and we will be the first to tell you that God can do a miracle in your
Right.
marriage if that's where you're
100%.
at. And that's why we're so passionate about what we do because it doesn't need to get to that
It
point.
doesn't need to get there.
Yeah.
Like that's the crazy thing is like no matter how messed up your relationship is, like we 100% believe that God can radically come in there and do a heart transplant to both of you
Yeah.
to set you on a new course that's like people, your own family don't even recognize you. We 100% like know that that's the that what God is capable of doing because
Yeah.
that's what he did in us.
Mhm.
But if you're not in that situation right now, like check those little tiny dark spots
Do
in
it
the grass.
now.
Do it now.
Yeah.
Be checking in now. Invest now, just like you do with everything else, and you will avoid heartache. Don't wait until something comes up, something happens, some explosion happens to go and maybe we should go to marriage conference. Maybe we should talk to somebody. Don't wait for the
Mhm.
explosion. Do it now so
Yeah.
that you're preparing. Hey there, we hope you are enjoying this conversation. But hey, we had a quick question for you. Right now, currently, who is in your corner for your marriage? One thing we know about the top athletes, the top business owners, the top leaders is that they all can't do it without the support.
That's right. And when it comes to a couple in business, it's the same way. Imagine what it could be like, even if you're not in crisis. Maybe everything's going great. But imagine what it could be like to have a couple in your corner, encouraging you and making sure you guys stay aligned as you continue down your path together.
Or maybe you are in crisis mode and you have no idea where to even start. Well, we can help you with that too.
There is going to be a link in the description below. You can click that link and you can go ahead and book a discovery call with us. We would love to get to know you, hear your story, and see if we might be a good fit to help you on your path moving forward.
Let's get back into this conversation. It's just like if we have so many friends that are at our church they do jujitsu and they're obsessed with it. Well, you have to be obsessed with it. You have to obsess over moves. You have to be obsessed over, different how to get out of different situations in order to go to worlds and actually compete with the world. Like you're not gonna just show up to worlds and like, yeah, I got this because you went to jujitsu once. Like, no, bro, you're gonna get worked in a second. Those guys are insane. And girls, we have girls at our church are
They're
wild.
very good.
Like it's the craziest thing, right? But like that's what we do in our marriage so often. Like we just say we're good, we got it. Like we're not we don't fight, we don't argue. And it's like okay, but like when's the last time you checked in with her?
Yeah.
When's the last time you just said like, hey, how you doing?
And it's pride because we don't want to, we want to put on like we're great. And just in the age of social media and all of that is people don't want to act like they have any problems at home. And yet everyone does.
Yeah.
Everyone does. They're just, some people are better equipped to know how to fix them than others, or people are hiding it. And
It's
so,
that thought too of like if we go and join a community, like we have our community and we've heard people say like, well, we don't really need that because,
we're fine.
we're fine. It's like that's a great time to actually jump into the community because now you're with like-minded people that are wanting to be better. They're wanting just to do life better.
Yeah.
Because we can always be better. We can always be a better husband, we can be a better wife. Even if you think you're the perfect wife, even if you think you're the perfect husband, and everyone tells you that, you can always be better. Like
Yeah.
we can always, and like we don't want to keep living in the past. We want to look towards the future. And if we're looking towards the future, then we want to be checking in. We want to be getting better. We want to making sure that we're going in the same direction. So invest before.
And also, you never know when a storm is coming on the
That's
horizon that's going
right.
to hit your marriage. And so, if you're not as strong as you can be before that happens, sometimes those things can take you out.
Yeah.
And whether that's a family illness, a diagnosis, personally, in one of you, even a financial crisis, or one of your kids, they're grown and they're acting a fool,
Mm,
or a business trouble, and like those are the times that crisis can actually rip people apart. And I know even the stats on like when people lose a child, like the likelihood that that couple's going to get divorced is so high. And it's so sad because it's like when a storm hits a marriage, sometimes rather than the couple clinging to each other, they actually sort of go into their defense mode or like protection mode.
mhm.
And then they don't open up and communicate. They don't have support. They don't know how to talk to each other about it. They process it differently. And
Yeah.
that ends up pulling them apart rather than being another thing that can draw them closer together.
Yeah.
And so you never know when those things are coming. And you want to be as strong as you can be before that comes.
Yeah.
So just be investing continually to stay strong,
Yeah.
stay in a place of strength. And if you're not getting stronger, you're actually getting weaker.
Hmm.
You're not the same as yesterday. If you didn't invest, if you skip a day at the gym, you're not the same strength you were the day
Right.
before. Like you actually got weaker. So the same thing goes for your marriage because we change every day, right? Like things are happening. Like we don't
Constantly
drift
changing.
together. We drift apart if we let things go
In your
like that.
natural state, you're going to drift apart.
Yeah.
You're not drifting together.
Yeah.
It's like you don't just show up 72, 75 years later married, like by just doing your own thing.
Autopilot.
We just autopilot.
Yeah.
We just said I do, and we just live life together. No, they were intentional every single year, every single month, checking in, and to get to that successful longevity of their.
Yeah. And one of the things that we learned at that first conference that I think had the biggest impact on us leads us into our next point,
Oh, look at that.
which is lead yourself.
Hmm.
Great marriages don't wait for the other person to go first.
This is
And this speaks so much
I'm gonna get her
to
fired up on this.
this speaks so much to the thought of, well, he's not nice to me, so I don't need to do that. Or
Mhm.
I would do this, but she's not doing that. And how often we keep score against each other or make the other person internally, we have this internal, like, have they earned it yet? And this can
Ooh.
go to intimacy. This can go to household chores. This can go to just being kind to one another,
Yeah.
doing nice things for each other, serving each other. It's like, well, why would I make his lunch when he ignored me this morning when he left the house?
Yeah.
Or, I mean, there's all kinds of scenarios.
You all know your
There's
stories.
so many scenarios.
Yeah.
And that is another selfish way
Mm.
that we operate in marriage by default.
Yeah.
And you have to be intentional to break out of that and to flip that in your mind and think, what can I do for him? Because, like, and here's one. Okay, here's probably a really relatable one.
Uh-oh.
And I'm going to go there
Oh boy.
is intimacy
Mm-hmm.
and then him being nice. And those two things kind of work in this cycle against each other.
Like two cats fighting.
And it's like, he wasn't nice to me today, so I'm not going to be intimate tonight. And then she wasn't intimate with me, so I'm not going to be nice to her today.
It's weird how that works.
And around you go
And
in
then
this circle.
you've been multiple months without having sex.
Months, years. Yeah. And now you're holding that against each other. And you know what? She gets more distant and he gets more mean. And so at some point, someone has to break the cycle. And because those are very real needs that a man and a woman have.
Right.
Women need emotional, men need physical. I mean, and we both need both, all of those, but to different degrees, right? And that goes for individual people, but then also male and female, just the needs that we have. And so if you're not doing your part because they're not doing theirs, then you both just stay stuck.
Yeah.
And go backwards, actually, like we just talked about. So it takes one of you to think, to break out of that and say, I'm going to go first. I'm going to choose to go first. And that goes back to just like self-leadership, right? Lead yourself. Like you're in charge of your own attitude. Did you know that? You don't have to have a bad
Why is she
attitude.
looking at me?
No,
like
I'm just,
say that.
I'm just talking to the people behind you.
Oh, okay.
Like we can have, and I'm talking to the mirror of
Hey,
myself.
there we go.
Is that sometimes we can let our spouse's behavior and actions dictate how we show up at home.
Sheesh.
And why do the kids need to suffer? Why does my home need to be a place of tension? Because we had a little riff about something, you know? And it's like, I'm a grown woman. You're a grown man. You guys are grown adults. And we can actually choose to change our attitude. Did you know that?
That's a really
Did you know
good
we
one.
have the power to change our attitude?
Wow.
You can
How many
react to
fights
things
would be avoided?
a lot.
How many divorces would be avoided?
Probably a lot. We think that it needs to be earned or deserved. I think that's such a subconscious operating system
That's
in a
a really
marriage.
good point because it goes back, and then that's literally why the Bible says to love like husbands love your spouse as Christ loves the church. Why? Because did we earn Christ's love? Did we earn like to be
We didn't love him
saved?
first. Yeah.
We didn't love him first, and then he died for us. He died for us with the chance
While
while
we were
yet we
sinners.
were sinners, while
Yeah.
yet like there might be a chance that one day this girl, this guy says yes to me. And even if they don't, I'm still going to die for them because I love them. Like that's the picture
That's the
that we
model.
are supposed to love our spouse as.
Yeah.
But so often, like, well, she didn't make me dinner tonight, so I'm going to be rude to her. Or he didn't take out the trash, so he's not getting any.
Mm-hmm.
And you have all these, and you see it on reels, you see it in TV shows and on movies, and it's how it's portrayed. Why? Because this is what people are actually doing and how they're living their lives selfishly and not sacrificially to their spouse.
Yeah.
And then we think it's gonna work out. We think like, oh, we'll show them, and then it doesn't. But yet we still stay in this vicious cycle. Why? Because of pride, because of selfishness. And the grass ain't greener on the other side, honey. Like
It's greener where you water it.
Ooh.
We've learned.
Sheesh.
That's your job.
Right.
To water your own grass.
Water your own lawn.
Yep.
Take
Stop
care of that
looking over the
thing.
fence.
Good night. That is actually a really cool story. Like leading first, and so there's this minister. His name was Smith Wigglesworth, and he has devotional. The guy, if you don't know about him, he has an incredible ministry back in the day. But before that, he was just a plumber, and he was a mean old grumpy Gus. And his wife one day got saved, radically saved, and she started going to church. And she went to church every time the doors were open, she was there. Well, one day Smith got super upset with her and said, "If you go to that church again, I'm locking you out and you're sleeping on the porch." Well, she was leading herself first. And so she went to church that night. And what did Smith do? Homeboy locked the door. And she ended up sleeping on the porch, mind you, in the winter when it was snowing outside. And so Smith got up in the morning, wondering where his wife was, realizing that he locked her outside, opened the door, and she was there at the door. She got up, dusted her snow off of herself. Good morning, Smith. How are you this morning? What can I make you for breakfast? Actually, ooh.
How to
and think about like, and think about, and and then Smith, see, I just like, I guess I saw myself in Smith for some reason, right? Because we're selfish people. But to see Smith in that moment, to see the love that she had for him, and and he knew he was being that way. He knew he was being a lot of choice words, right? But he knew that he saw Christ's love in through his through his wife, and it forever changed him to where then he got radically saved, changed, and has quote unquote one of the greatest ministries in the history of the world, where he like raised multiple people from the dead, multiple people like saved. His ministry would have been nothing without his wife's love, and
yeah.
just the demonstration of what true sacrificial love was. Like we would have never experienced what Smith brought to the world if his wife didn't do that. But what she do first? She led first. If Smith not going to church, that's all right. I'm gonna go. Why? Because she knew she had a foundation. She knew what she wanted to do. So oftentimes we see spouses giving in to when one doesn't want to go to church. Okay, well, I'll just stay home. I won't go. That is the worst thing that you could possibly do for your relationship, is stay away from community, stay away from the one that can set you free, that can set him free, that can set her free. Jesus is the only answer that can fix most of y'all's marriages. Because we are a testimony
Yeah.
to his faithfulness and his mercy and his grace. But so oftentimes we bow down to or give into what our spouses, they're tough. Well, you're not going to church, or we're staying home. And then we see then the kids stay home versus the mom, or sometimes it is the dad too, going leading first and just like, no, we're going to church and you're coming with me. And whether you want to stay home and watch football and be a bum, then you can do that. But I'm going to go to church and where I'm going to serve God. And she's leading first.
Yeah. Well, in First Peter even says, I remember like staring at these words on the pages when we were in a season like that. And because it basically says, wives, when you have an unbelieving husband, like you still, and I'm paraphrasing, but essentially like you still do the word and let your life be an example to them.
Mm,
And so in that way of go first,
right.
love him with a sacrificial love and
Yeah.
watch how God can move through that.
Yeah.
Because and that goes back to being a team, and all of that is like when you get that vision for your marriage, that you guys are united together for a reason and for a purpose on the earth, and that your husband, you or wife, either way, but we just see it so commonly with women
Right.
begging for their husbands to step up and lead the family. And it's like because also I think some of the frustration is, as a wife, you see the potential in your husband. You see the giftings, you see the talents, you see the things that he's capable of, and he's just not living up to that. And that can
Mm,
be such a frustrating feeling,
yeah.
because you want to just grab them and shake them and don't you see it? Don't you see it? And they might not see it. And so that takes prayer. It takes like God opening their eyes to see that and softening their hearts. And you, as painful as it is, doing the word anyway, whether they're doing it or not, like you do what the Bible says. And so when the Bible says, wife, love your husband, be an example of godly character to him so that he might be won over by watching you
Oof.
and the example that you set. And so
Yeah.
what an incredible, with Smith's wife,
Mhm.
what a beautiful testament to a woman who did the word, even when it physically hurt her body. She
Yeah.
did the word, and what God was able to do in that. And so I think wives, we can have such a I don't want to say victim, although there were times when I identified with that in a
Mhm.
season of that. I felt like, oh, poor me, this is my
Yeah. Well, wait, I want to
situation.
make just a disclaimer really fast. Like if you're in like an abusive relationship, or
Yeah,
that's just a whole
right.
different story. But if your husband or wife is just being stubborn,
Yeah.
then
If
that's a
there's abuse, you get help, you
yeah.
get out, you get safe. That's not what we're talking about. But when it's just a matter of like having to, the Bible says like crucify your flesh. Because
Mhm.
it's like my flesh wants to scream at you right now. My flesh wants to throw a frying pan at the wall right now.
Oh,
But like those are very real things. And yet I'm going to let the love of God constrain me. I'm going to have self control. And it takes, 1 Corinthians 13 is like the love chapter in the Bible. And sometimes you just need to read that over and over and over until you do what it says, until
mhm.
it becomes second nature to you, that you are just living out and it's the love of God through you, because
Mhm.
no human, and I guess that's kind of our heart at the bottom of all of this is like, we can give you frameworks, we can give you tactics, we can give you all the things that will help if you do them,
Right.
but your ability to do them on your own in your own strength is so limited. And so if you've been trying and it feels like nothing's happening and you feel like you want to give up and you don't know God, like, can we just encourage you to talk to him? And even if you don't have a Bible, like open up your mouth and that's what prayer is. It's just talking to God and just have a conversation with him like you would
Mm,
with a friend, and just let him know, because he knows where you're at. He knows your
right.
heart. He knows what's going on. And if you just reach out to him, he will give you the grace and his spirit to just be equipped to actually walk it out,
Yeah.
because you cannot do it in your own strength. We're not strong enough. So depending on the gravity of your situation, some of you might be closer to that point than others. And sometimes it takes us getting to the end of our rope where it's like, I'm
Most of the
hanging
time
on
it
by a
does.
thread here. I'll give God a shot because
Yeah.
I've tried everything else. And it's like, if that's what it takes, then I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you made it to that point, because he really can change your marriage, because that's our story, like even the construction example is like, when you want to renovate a house, sometimes all you need to do is hang some new curtains, maybe a new coat of paint, and the house looks better. But for us, it was like we needed a full demolition. We
Mhm.
had to break down walls. We had to rebuild from the foundation up, and our marriage is brand new. It's not a patched up version of what it once was. We are unrecognizable people to who we were in the beginning, and our
Right.
marriage is unrecognizable, and what God's been able to do through our marriage would never have happened if we were the same way that we were. And so we just share that to give hope, because we've been there and it was a very hard few years.
Yeah.
So
And in your natural state, like selfishness, going back to that, like you don't want to go to church. You don't want to put in the work. So if one of you is leading in this, like, no, I know that this can fix this. I know that this can be better. I know that this is the health and the lifeline that we need, then you do it. You
yeah,
lead. You go first.
yeah,
Even if we switch a little bit and go into like health, and you like maybe you're both not aren't healthy, or one of you wants to be healthy, well then you lead, you do it, you start working out, you start eating better, you lead it, you do it. Like waiting for the man to finally do something. Like, no, like you just do it.
yeah,
You just like start working out and start doing your thing. And he'll come along eventually when you're losing weight and you're looking good. He's like, well, I guess I better start stepping up. That's just how this works.
yeah,
Like, and same with the guy. Like, your little belly. It's time to start getting in the gym, start working out, start thinking legacy, start thinking longevity, and
yeah,
and it takes just maybe you just doing it, like you leading, like you lead. You want to be a leader. Like, well, listen to leadership podcasts, read leadership books. Only better with finances. Well, don't blame her that she's always spending money. Then you read, Rich Dad Poor Dad. You put in the work.
yeah,
You show yourself approved, and then she gonna come along.
yeah.
Because that's just how it works. But if none of you ever put any of the work in, never lead first, then you're gonna continue to repeat cycle. You're gonna be frustrated, and yeah,
And even on a practical level, if you play that out, because I've heard it said like this too, like if you do get divorced, if you guys are considering that right now, like play that out. You get divorced. What's the first thing you're going to do? You're going to start going to the gym. You're going to start trying to better yourself and
right,
take care of yourself to get yourself ready for
The
some next
next one.
person. And
Yeah.
it's like, how about you do that now
Woo.
in your current marriage now
Fire.
and make yourself the best version of yourself that you can be for your spouse
Yeah.
so you can show up for them and then watch how your marriage changes in such a practical way.
Mhm.
Like start exercising, start eating better, start drinking more water, start
See,
getting more natural
well,
sunlight.
then you just feel better too.
Yeah.
And then
When
some
you feel
yeah.
better, you are a nicer
And then
person.
you make changes, you make other things happen. You're like, "Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Now we're saving money all of a sudden. Why? Because we started eating better?" Well, it's like, no, because now your body feels good.
Hmm.
It's scientific. I mean, we're not scientists
Right.
here, but it's very scientific here.
Well, it's like as spiritual as it is, it's also so practical.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of spiritual stuff behind your marriage functioning the way it does, but there's so many practical things that you could do that will make a big difference and help
Yeah.
a lot. So that's a big one. Okay, our last one, defend the marriage.
We're going like a sword.
Defend the marriage. Great marriages protect what they value.
Right.
And when you don't protect something, it's vulnerable. It's vulnerable to attack. It's vulnerable to deterioration. Back to our grass, our grass picture that's just
Yeah.
like so stuck in my brain now. But so what
You're
are the
welcome.
guardrails that you're putting around your marriage? What are the boundaries you have around your marriage? And this goes for all kinds of things. I think sometimes our mind can go to like infidelity first. And I mean, that's a very real one. You need those kinds of boundaries with the opposite sex. Like we have some in ours, like we don't ride in a car with the opposite sex alone. We don't go, like when we travel together or with someone like a friend or someone that's with us. Just those sort of, you don't open up and share emotional things with someone of the opposite sex.
Mhm.
That's reserved for your spouse. That's a sacred thing. The amount of time you're spending with people, like there's all kinds of those boundaries that you should have.
Yeah.
But it's also boundaries of like protecting how you view each other.
Mm.
So like phones, I mean, phones are such a huge thing these days that probably were never an issue, obviously, in marriages before the cell phone.
Right.
But now it's like, how much do you have conversation without someone being on their phone? Or when you're talking, are you making eye contact? Do you have the other person's actual attention? Or do you get up and check your phone in the middle of a
Mm.
conversation? It's like, that's a really quick way to tell your spouse that you don't value what they're saying.
Yeah.
And they immediately internalize that. So it can even be guarding your energy. Like, are you pouring more energy into your business and
Mm.
into your work or into your time with your friends or your hobby than you are with your spouse?
Yeah.
So, I
And
mean, there's all kinds of
I
things.
mean, defending on even who are you hanging around?
That's a
What
big one.
what couples are you friends with? Are they
Mhm.
all divorced couples? Or I mean, they're not really couples anymore, right? But they divorced
Yeah.
friends that you're hanging around with? Are you defending your like? So often you see like
Spouse
spouse
bashing.
partner bashing.
Yeah.
Partner bashing. I mean, that's a huge one. So are we defending like, especially when it comes to like, maybe it's like your own family that's like bashing the spouse. It's like, well, like what are you stepping in? Are you defending your wife, your husband, or are you just letting them say whatever they want? Because all those words, all that negativity is going to affect you too. So, and then we obviously heavily encourage speaking life over your partner. So,
Yeah. Not
um,
like gossiping to your friends
yeah,
about the fight you had yesterday or if they open up and share something with you, you don't run and tell your friend about it. Another one too that maybe people don't think about is like the TV shows you watch and movies that you watch. Sometimes they can, not sometimes, always, they idealize like perfect relationships and the man pursues the woman the whole movie and he does all these romantic things. And you might think that's okay, but then if you're sitting there and your marriage is struggling or your husband doesn't do those things for you, then now you're comparing him to these fake people on TV and like thinking less of your relationship
mm,
because of what you see on TV. And it's like, it might seem harmless. It might just seem like entertainment, but it's like your I mean, he's so hot. He's so dreamy, like these celebrity things too. Like, I don't know. We're so anti that too of having, I don't even know what those things are called, but when you like have a celebrity that you have crushes on and you
oh
talk
right,
about it in
yeah,
your marriage, like, how is that healthy?
hmm
How is that I don't understand that one.
You don't like that one at
I don't
all.
like that one at all. Like, it doesn't matter how much money they make or how famous they are. Like, why is it okay that we're talking about how attractive this other person is to our spouse?
On that note, another big one to defend is your guys' relationship. And in defending your relationship of all the little, the bickering, the spouse bashing, bashing, partner
The tricky
bashing,
phrase.
uh, you know, the shows that all the stuff, right? But like defending your relationship and the fact that you need to be having a date night.
Yeah.
Yes, we did. We went through almost the whole entire episode without saying date night. But if you know anything about us, we're gonna heavily encourage a date night. And sometimes it does feel like you have to literally fight a battle to have that date night. Whether maybe the kid got sick or your babysitter got sick or had to do something or somebody got a flat tire and now there's some blow up at the office or whatever the situation might be. And it seems like there's always an attack on like sometimes you just having like a nice date night with your spouse. Or I would like to say like when is the last time you actually had a date night with your spouse? Because that would be a good indicator of you defending date night or not.
And date night, having a regular date night is such a great thing to have in place and a regular rhythm so that you don't lose track of all these other things.
Yes.
Because when you are at a restaurant and you're having dinner and you're sitting across the table from each other, that's when you can ask each other, hey, how are you doing right now?
Mm-hmm.
How can I better serve you? You know, like that's when all these questions can come, or like, let's dream of our next goal together. Let's drive around. One of our favorite things is like drive around in like really nice neighborhoods. And we've been able to sort of escalate that over the years, which is cool. But it's like drive around and just fantasize about your future together. And those are the things that bond you and keep you connected
Yeah.
as you're going through your life
Just
together.
dreaming together.
Yeah, it's like a built-in way to keep you guys on the same page. And don't let them slip because I know sometimes we can miss one, but just don't miss two. If you have to miss a random one because of whatever it is, just
Mm-hmm.
don't miss the next one and get back on track and or even get creative and do one at home. If you have a sick kid, once they're in bed, like go downstairs and just set up a little picnic on the living room floor or something to kind of be special. Play a card game together or just do something to connect. It doesn't have to be fancy, especially if you're in little baby season.
Mm-hmm.
There's all kinds of outside circumstances that would like to tell us why we can't do it. And there's always going to be a reason why we can't do it. And yet, when you value your marriage, you know you want to invest in it, you know you need to protect it. That's something that needs to be a non negotiable. So,
Yeah, and a good one to like defend too is so going back into like investing and all that is defending it to like vulnerabilities that could pop up. So having this accountability, like either couples or a community, different. If you don't have anything like that at your in where you're at, maybe your church doesn't have anything like that for small groups or life groups or whatever, however you chop it up and call it. If you don't have anything like that, like I would highly recommend you to join a community, join or even like having couples that are like minded and also couples that are going and or either going in a really like a high direction or
mhm,
already there and like the couple that you see 5 years, 10 years down the road from you, like where you would want to be, like that's couples that you should like want to go to lunch with and do double dates with because you can learn and like lean in to like how do they achieve that? Why are they successful? And like being around couples that are like doing stuff, couples that are like grooving and you know,
mhm.
not just the ones that are always bashing and just not really doing anything with their life. Because I think oftentimes we can be stuck in the circle that we're in because it's like what we know. And sometimes I believe and to defend it and to be better we need to like go maybe outside of our circle and
Yeah.
learn.
Yeah. And then they'll be there to encourage you when you guys do hit a rough spot.
Right.
So having couples like that in your corner is so much healthier and better for you than having the ones that are like, oh, I can't believe they said that. That's awful. And digging them further into the ground versus trying to help you guys out together. So, big one. So, to revisit our 5 ways to make sure that you have a great marriage in 2026. First, you are going to build the vision. You are going to understand the season.
Mhm.
You're going to invest early, lead yourself first, and defend the marriage. Now, if you're a note taker, if you are note taking friends of ours, we just spelled out build. Did you notice that?
Did you notice it?
BUILD, build. That is our framework for
That's
making
right.
sure that 2026 you will have the best marriage. And the best thing is these things all compound over time. So the more you
Yep.
just keep doing these little investments, these little tweaks, these little things, you're going to get stronger and stronger year after year. And so it might not be that 2026 is like we're on the mountaintop all year long, but it's like you're better equipped to maybe start down this path together. And then
Mm.
it's only going to get better from here. So even when you hit those hard seasons, you'll know how to support each other. You'll get through it together. And those things actually bring you closer together. And that's just the best way to go through life is together.
Hey, we hope this conversation helped you. We hope that as you take on 2026 that you are on the same team building this life together because we truly believe that there is nothing greater than a couple united together walking in purpose in this life. Hey, if you don't have a community, if you don't know other couples like-minded like you, I invite you to come and join our online community with like-minded couples just like you. So click the link below to get all the information, and we will see you next time.